Well, today we could learn what the future holds for the women's rugby team at Quinnipiac University. The university wants to revoke its varsity status and replace it with a men's distance track team.
So rugby players are pushing back now. They've taken that fight to court. Your reporter Anna Stansfield live outside Quinnipiac. So what do we expect to happen today, Anna?
Well, guys, good morning. Coaches, players, along with the athletic director have been in court several days this week, and today it could be their last day in front of a judge as we're expecting oral arguments to start this morning. By moving the women's rugby team to a club sport, the athletic director says they would have room to add a men's varsity distance track program. They say that decision aligns with the athletic department's long-term goals and financial strategies. The decision facing a judge today: is this a violation of Title IX, a federal law designed to provide equal benefits and support to women's athletics? The school says no, but players and coaches say yes. On the stand this week, the team's coach said they feel the decision is in retaliation for her efforts to protect her team when she would ask for things like better uniforms and fields. And when asked if those complaints had anything to do with the decision, she said, quote, "I believe I was at the forefront of that decision. I had been the only coach of Quinnipiac rugby and have a deep history of asking questions." Now, we've heard from the judge that she feels like time is critical in this case, meaning we're expecting her to make a decision pretty quickly after those oral arguments are made here later today. And that could force Quinnipiac University to keep the women's rugby team as a varsity sport, depending on the decision outcome. I'm your reporter live in Hamden, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.